Well, I'm Scott Van Pelt. Coming up on the show, the latest Favre rumor of the day.
And some Pac-10 talk, Pac-10 questions, and Mike Riley, who may be the best in the country at coaching up his players.
And we will set the record straight about Wyoming football with their head coach, Dave Christensen. Go Pokes!
Dax Crum.
As this hour, Mike Riley of Oregon State will join us, and Dave Christensen, head coach at Wyoming. And we can finally put to bed any and all questions you might have about the origin of this helmet, and do we really know who the quarterback is for the Pokes? We do. Do we know who the quarterback is for the Minnesota Vikings? With Ryen, Russillo, I'm Scott Van Pelt. It's ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Great to be with you on ESPN2 as well as we get to the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Welcome in Wyoming head football coach Dave Christensen. And Dave, want to get to the specifics of the helmet on the desk and the whole issue with do we know who your quarterback is, which we do. But I want to begin with a serious question, which is there are a lot of folks that say, there are too many bowl games and this and that. Last year, you guys go to Fort Collins and play Colorado State. You win on a late field goal by 1 point, which gets you bowl eligible. Then you get a chance to play Fresno, a very entertaining game that you win in double overtime. I don't know if you can overstate how much winning the game against Colorado State means in terms of visibility, more practice, getting a program to believe in itself. Is that fair to say how much that win meant to your program?
Absolutely, particularly where we're at in the rebuilding of our program, to have an opportunity to play in the postseason is just huge. And I'm an advocate of the bowl system and the opportunity that it gives kids to be able to play in the postseason, have the experience of going to a bowl. But certainly winning that game, giving us the extra practices and an opportunity to play in the postseason on national television, that did nothing but help our program.
We just had Mike Riley on from Oregon State, and I said, boy, Mike, you got a rough schedule. You play Boise and you play TCU in two of your first three. Well, you play both of those too, and you get to go to Austin and play Texas. What are you doing? Who made this schedule, Dave?
That would be a guy named Tom Berman, our athletic director. This schedule was set before I got here, but I'll certainly coach the team extremely hard, and I'll get our kids to play hard, and we'll show up each and every week. And we're making progress as a program. Where we certainly haven't arrived. We're not where we want to be, but we're making progress, and our focus is just to get better each and every week.
Dave Christensen, the head coach of Wyoming Football, joining us. Scott Van Pelt Show, Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio. You were with Gary Pinkel, who's the head coach of Mizzou for a long time, about 16 years, an assistant since '89. You take this head coaching job. Was it that you weren't ready, or this was the first program that you felt like was a good fit for you as a head coach?
Well, I had a couple other opportunities, a couple other interviews, and I wanted to make sure that when I stepped out to become a head coach, that there was the right situation, that I had an opportunity to have success. It's a tough business, and there's not a lot of second chances if you don't get it done right the first time you become a head coach. And so I wanted to make sure there was a program that had all the resources and support, administrative-wise, that I felt I could build and sustain a program, and Wyoming was the perfect fit.
With all the expansion talk this past off season, were you as surprised as I was that the Pac-10 didn't ask you first to join them?
Well, I wasn't real surprised, and I didn't follow that a whole bunch. It didn't have a lot of impact on me, and that's president's talk, and nobody ever called me and asked me what my vote was or my thoughts. So, I spent most of my time in the summertime just trying to find ways to help our football team become a better team and a better program so we can win this fall.
Well, now, Coach Akey, your counterpart at Idaho, and I say your counterpart because we've got two helmets here on our desk when we're on ESPN2, and the folks out in Moscow and the folks in Laramie have seemed to get a kick out of this. Coach Akey credited the fact that this helmet's on this stupid show for helping him recruiting-wise. So we have to ask, is the fact that the Pokes helmet's right out here front and center in front of Russillo, has it helped at all in notoriety?
Absolutely, without a doubt, and I, that was one of the reasons I want to come on here, is to personally thank you guys for doing that, because that's exposure we can't get, and we certainly appreciate it. And you know what, kids see this program all around the country, and certainly to see our helmet up there is a big plus in the recognition of Wyoming football.
Well, Coach, I have to apologize that I did get a little salty when the program sent all the gear to Van Pelt when it was actually me that did this. So I put a Utah State Aggies helmet out there for a couple of days as just a warning sign, but I couldn't remove the Wyoming helmet. I've read a bunch of stuff, and Van Pelt and I both reached out to some of the guys that cover the team, because is it true you just didn't really know what to make of the constant Wyoming references and why we even had the helmet out here in the first place? Because I read on somewhere that I'd gotten cut like after my second year, and I can tell you I've never stepped foot on campus.
No, I wasn't sure at first. We were just excited that it was out there, and and I understand that Dax Crum's a name that got some interest from you guys as an interesting character, and he is, and we're just excited that it's out there, that that we get a chance to get the exposure. People see us, you talk about us, and it's all positive stuff in our eyes.
And here's the important thing that we should say as we visit with Dave Christensen, head coach of Wyoming. They're off of a bowl appearance and victory last season as the program is on the upswing in Laramie. Austin Carter-Samuels had a fantastic season, and it's important for him to understand we know who he is. We enjoyed watching him play, and we just want to make sure that message is received by him, that the whole Dax Crum name, whatever, took on a life of its own, but we enjoyed watching him play. So at least take that message to him.
Certainly will.
We enjoyed watching him play, and with games against Texas, Boise, and TCU, among others, a lot of folks are going to be watching him play, so we hope that he's up to the challenge of that as well as your football team.
Well, I think he is, and so are our kids. And like I said, we're looking forward to a very challenging schedule. But our focus is 1 week at a time, and so right now we're just focused on the Southern Utah game on September 4th.
Coach, is there any chance? And I'm not going to say we're going to take the helmet off the set if it doesn't happen for us, but maybe one of these games gets a little loose. You're up a couple scores that we could see maybe a wild Crum formation of some sort. I think it has a ring to it.
He's our number 2 guy right now, so I'm sure there's going to be a chance he gets in somewhere along the line and plays. And he played extremely well today in our scrimmage. So, there's a chance. Well,
we'll be keeping an eye on Dax and on Austin Carter-Samuels and on all the Cowboys. Dave, listen, appreciate you being a good sport about this. I'm glad to know that the feelings largely around Laramie have been positive with all this. And all the best with the fall. We'll be keeping an eye on you guys.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything you do for us. Take care.
Right on,
Thanks,
Coach. All the best. Good luck. Well, that's good. I think we've cleaned all this up. Now all those people out there that goes, why was there a Wyoming helmet in front? Now you know. And
I don't even know that it really answers anything.
No, not really. No. I mean, there's still way more to it. But the fact of the matter is that if you go to a big-time conference where teams that get a ton of exposure and you throw their helmet out there, it means nothing. But the fact that it actually supposedly helps Coach Akey and Coach Christensen at Idaho and Wyoming, is sad. But really, beyond it's great. That's great to know, because the other programs, they could care less, but this apparently helps these people.
Yeah, I put a Ducks helmet out there.
No one cares.
They're
at
like,
Oregon.
which one of our 30 did you put out there?
Yeah. You didn't put out the Nike Pro Tech with the tank with the bazooka that comes out of the front when the lasers.
I think the Wild Crum has a ring to it, though.
I do like Wild Crum. Yeah. I do like Wild Crum. I bet you that's what Hutchinson and the boys were talking with Favre about. They were down there in Mississippi. He said, come on back and we'll run the Wild Crum.
Favre's like, I'm in.
He fired up put a big old lipper in, and they got on the plane. They're going to come back and run the Wild Crum. Coming up next, it's the one big thing about a teenager who signed for big bucks. He's headed to the show. I'll tell you a couple things I think he needs to lose before he gets there. That's next. It's ESPN Radio.